Welcome to A24 Quest, the official. Actually, it's now completely unofficial. Did you know A24 Quest has a podcast now? Not A24. A24, the company, has a podcast
They have
now.
a podcast?
Yeah, so...
What's it about?
Well, probably marine biology, I think.
Good.
James Cameron's involved. It's a fun time. Did you know James Cameron's a marine biologist?
I think I heard that somewhere along the line.
That's why a lot of his earlier movies were like sea-based, because he liked making movies about the sea. No, I'm not joking. This is real.
That's great.
His first movie was called Piranha 2, and it was like a horror movie.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, that's your James Cameron fact for the day. Let's talk about our A24 movies, which I had 2 weeks to watch, and I still only watched the first one last night and the second one this morning. So... Because I'm really good at procrastinating.
Well, I got you slightly beat. I watched them both last night. So
Okay, cool. Sounds good. I'm glad I didn't watch A Ghost Story last night because I would have fell asleep, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Here's the... Okay, we'll get into Ghost Story next. Do you want to start with Son of a Gun?
Well, you already started with Ghost Story. You want to just do it?
You want to just start with Ghost Story?
Sure.
Start with the good one for once? Sure. What did you think of Ghost Story?
I actually have conflicting opinions about this one because it's very slow. It's not very engaging, but it's beautiful beyond compare. Like it's phenomenally shot.
I absolutely adored this movie.
In fact, you would.
This is like Colin bait. This movie,
It very much is.
I put it on the list at number 2.
That doesn't surprise me.
So it's just under It Comes at Night. It was incredible, but yes, everything you've said so far is valid. It's very slow. It takes its time. It really takes its time. There's a scene where Rooney Mara eats a pie for like 8 minutes in one scene.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really serve a purpose, and it's like the main reason why I didn't give this like a 5-star out of like how amazing it is. It's a problem with the film is there's a lot of scenes that just go on for way too long, and it's like there's a certain point where you're like, I get it, it's introspective, you're supposed to like, it's not fast, and it's like makes it very clear from the get-go that it's like it's a very thought-provoking movie.
Yeah.
And it's mostly, I can't talk, mostly in the first act where there are those scenes that are like stretched out for like a minute longer than you'd expect them to, like shots, just silent shots that are like really long.
Isn't the opening shot them laying in bed for like 5 minutes?
It's the pie eating scene, the bed scene, the morgue,
hospital,
the morgue scene. They all go on for. It's just a silent shot for a long time.
Yeah,
and it sets the tone, and it makes you understand this is not a fast-paced movie, and they kind of get away from that as the movie goes on a little bit, and it gets more interesting after the first act. I have to say, the first act, I was like, I don't think I like where this movie's going if it's just going to be this slow, but it picks up and it gets more interesting as it goes along.
It does. It definitely starts touching on ideas of existentialism and how the universe is all one and repeating.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I suppose we should actually just give a quick plot synopsis.
So it's like this is one of those movies where it's like it's difficult to A, like talk about the plot, and B, like even spoil anything because it's such a visual movie. It's not really like there's very little dialogue in this movie. A lot of it is just silent, pretty shots. To quote Indiana Jones, this belongs in a museum.
Good.
The whole okay. Hey, you remember that one time you and I, Josh, were in the MIA, the Minneapolis Institute of Art, and we saw that movie, 3D movie.
Yep.
This felt like that. It felt like a kind of movie that should be shown in like an art museum.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
It's that kind of thing, but it's like an hour and a half. And if that sounds like it's gonna really annoy you, it probably will.
Oh yeah.
This is an art piece. It's it's hard to call it a movie made for entertainment's sake, because it absolutely isn't.
No. I know a lot of people that would really, really hate this kind of movie.
Yeah, right. So, if you've ever seen The Tree of Life or anything by Terrence Malick, it's extremely similar to that. So, if that's like a way to compare this to like things that have come out, I get the feeling this filmmaker is very inspired by Terrence Malick, because Terrence Malick also does that thing where shots go on for a long time. There's long sequences that are just kind of pretty visuals that are not really connected to the story.
Oh my god. Let's just talk about that for a second. The pretty visuals in this movie.
This movie is one of the most gorgeous movies. Gorgeous. It's complete. Every single shot looks like a painting in that it's framed. And I was just like, that's why I didn't mind the still shots, because it's like, it just looks nice. It's framed so pretty. It's there's a mastery to the camera work in this.
They constantly. Well, first of all, we have to talk about how it was shot, because it's not your typical.
Oh yeah, the aspect ratio.
Yeah, the aspect
ratio is really weird. I don't know what it is, but it's not widescreen. Yeah, it's like a square. It's a round with rounded edges.
Rounded edges. Yeah, it was very bizarre.
And that's the first thing that made me feel like this is like an art museum type movie, because I was like, this is a very unusual aspect ratio.
Yeah, there was that, and then as soon as the movie started, there was constantly frames within the frames. So there was outlines of doorways, outlines of like entryways, just lining these walls, which are already smaller than they used to be because of the weird aspect ratio. Mm-hmm. But it just makes this pretty picture.
Oh yeah, the aspect ratio, I thought it would be really distracting, but it actually made the movie look all that more artistic and beautiful.
Yeah.
And
picturesque.
Yeah, picturesque, very intimate. A lot of scenes, like I get because it's like it feels like the camera. It's almost claustrophobic in how the camera feels like it's right up close, and it's like, but there's things in the background, but it feels like a wide lens has this sense of detachment, and I think that's why they chose to have this like tiny aspect ratio to make it feel more touching. I don't know.
This is the kind of film I would expect from like a photographer,
right? Yeah,
or like
exactly.
Somebody that came through a lot of years of art school instead of film school.
Yeah, it doesn't have as many film tropes and film concepts as it does like traditional art,
like none
traditional paintings and traditional like photography and whatnot.
As far as film tropes go, like I didn't really experience any of them. In fact, they were very counter to the film tropes, like extending scenes way longer, having these I don't see angles and picturesque shots like that in any movie
it's
that I've ever seen.
It's extremely unique. One of the most unique movies in A24 Quest so far, I'd say, and one of my favorite by far. And I want to talk. I would have liked to talk about like certain sequences that are like really amazing and beautiful, but I honestly think you should go see it like yourself.
Definitely.
I don't even want to do a spoiler segment for this. Maybe if like, I don't know. If you know, if you're watching this and you know us, ask us to elaborate, and I'll tell you. But it's like, definitely go check it out. If this doesn't sound like again, this is a polarizing type movie. If you don't like art films, this is not gonna appeal to you. And even if you do like art films, but you like art films that have a little more of a sense of urgency and a little more of a message. Well, this has a message to it, but a little more of an obvious message to it. You're probably not gonna like this. This is vague, slow, and just it's just really lofty in its themes. So it's kind of, again, in that regard, it's very much like a Terrence Malick movie. So yeah, solid recommendation for me if you like that kind of thing. If you don't, you will be completely bored.
I wouldn't recommend this to most people because most people probably wouldn't enjoy this film.
Right.
But I did. I had a really good time.
Yeah, it's almost what I consider a guilty pleasure, in the sense that it's so out there and so artsy that it's like not the most widely enjoyable movie, but I liked it. So
yeah, let's talk about Son of a Gun.
Okay, Son of the. You ever watch? I hear people talk about endings that spoil an entire movie, that ruin an entire movie, and I've never found an example of this until I saw Son of a Gun. And I don't even know. Maybe we should talk about it before going into spoilers, because I don't think it was the worst movie ever. But we're gonna have a spoiler talk for this, I think, because
Sure.
I want to discuss the ending, because I think it brought my rating down significantly, and I think it ruined most of the movie. But before the ending, yes,
You're knocking tables.
I know it's a nervous tick. Not nervous, whatever. Before the ending, Son of a Gun is a pretty entertaining Australian action movie starring Ewan Mcgregor, which is an odd combination, but it worked for the most part. The main character is so aggressively uninteresting. I kind of wish Ewan McGregor was the main character, because the main character is just bland and just this doughy-eyed. He's supposed to be the like audience connection character. We're supposed to like relate with him, but it's like Ewan McGregor's so much more interesting.
Yeah. One of the things I noticed in this film is that this has the same issue as Full Metal Jacket did for me. The first 20 minutes are incredibly fun, incredibly interesting, and I'd rewatch those 20 minutes again and again and again, and I'd enjoy it.
Yeah, it starts really solid. Like, because I thought this was going to be a prison break movie. I thought the whole movie was going to be in prison. So I can see what you mean by the Full Metal Jacket thing, where everybody assumes that the whole movie takes place in the boot camp, but in reality, that's a very small part of the whole picture. The prison sequence is great.
Yeah, that part is really, really well done. You know, I was on the edge of my bed.
I was on the edge of my couch.
I watched it in my bed, so I'm on the edge of my bed. The whole time, all 20 minutes, I was like, oh, wow, this is getting real interesting, this is getting good. And then it just drops, and it throws you into, you got, what is it, RJ or whatever his name is?
I don't know.
The main character, this young kid who helped McGregor out of prison, and now they have to go rob a thing that's
gold.
They're making gold.
Yeah, they gotta go steal
They're melting
some gold.
So they're stealing gold,
and
it just gets boring. And
I didn't think it was that boring. I still, after they left the prison, the movie still had me a little bit. I mean, it's less boring than The Captive. It's still a little more engaging than The Captive. And I actually liked it. I was feeling a strong 7 stars on this one. Or 7 out of 10. Or what was that? Oh, I'll just say 7 out of 10.
Yeah, you're good.
I don't want to do math on the fly. I want to say a strong 7 out of 10 for this one. For the most part, I was like, it's got a little something about it, like holding it back. It's not great. It's just an okay like action espionage thriller, crime thriller,
and it does a decent job at it.
There's some like good action sequences. I mean, there's like some of the chase sequences were actually really well shot, and I was like, cool. That's a thing that these A24 action movies have. I always notice that the worst part of the A24 action movies we've seen is the action scenes. They're always like really incompetently shot, and this one I was like, it's clear they knew what they were doing. It's just the whole movie's a little too generic to be kind of engaging. But I was like, okay, this is a fine movie. And do you want to just jump into spoilers now? Because like my review is it's a okay movie.
Yeah, no, it's 6 star for me.
Okay,
like across the board.
Yeah, no,
there's nothing wrong with it.
It dropped down to 6 star for me after the ending.
There's nothing wrong with this movie. It's a decent, watch it and drop it. As you would with a lot of those kind of action movies. Okay. They aren't worth a rewatch, but watch them once if you like action movies.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with this. No, I'm not going to watch it again, but I'm not like disappointed I saw it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump right into spoilers and talk about the ending. Okay, so let me set this up for you. At the end of this movie, they're on a boat. And the whole movie, Ewan McGregor's been obviously just like using this kid. Like I feel like the movie was I didn't feel the movie was trying to get me to sympathize with Ewan McGregor at all, because I was like, he's kind of an awful character, and he's using this kid, and he's clearly just going to ditch the kid and make off with the gold at the end. There's going to be a betrayal. And then the highly expected betrayal happens right at the end. And then I was like, okay, is this how the movie's going to end? But then the kid starts talking like, oh, you don't have the gold anymore. And he goes and checks, and he doesn't have the gold anymore. And it's setting up this thing where, like, this girl the kid's met and him and the kid have actually been playing Ewan for the majority of the last part of the movie. And they're the ones that are going to make off with the gold. And Ewan is just angry. And I was like, this is setting up to be an extremely satisfying ending, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. And then Ewan, for some reason, tackles the kid off the boat and then forgets that the kid can't swim, and then he saves the kid's life. And then Ewan and the kid are buddy-buddy, and it has this really sappy ending where everybody's still friends. And I hated it. If the movie would have just ended with Ewan getting completely screwed over by this kid, and the kid making off with all the gold, and it's just like this whole, like, Ewan's had the upper hand this whole time, and the kid just pulls the rug out from under him right at the end. And, you know, it has this idea of, like, maybe the kid becomes the next Ewan. Like, this is his life of crime starting. And that would have been great. But they didn't do that, and they went for this really lame, sappy, emotional ending. And it sucked.
I mean, one of the weakest points of this entire movie was the emotional, romantic aspect of it.
Yeah, probably.
Whenever she was in the movie, like, I was disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't even know her name. She played the Ex Machina. She played the robot.
Oh, was that Alicia Vikander?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was her.
Okay,
I guess it makes sense.
She was just a huge disappointment in this film. Like, I didn't like any part that she was involved in, and
yeah, no. It was just like, it's just like the main character, like, every time, maybe this was the point, like, every time she was involved, he threw, like, all logic out the window.
Which is
like,
also stupid.
Yeah, but maybe that was the point. Like, Ewan McGregor even said, he was like, you gotta stop thinking, like, with your dick, is what he said.
Yeah.
You have to, like, get your head in the game. And I was like, I actually agree with you on this one, Ewan. The main character is being very stupid, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree, but it really hurts the film when the main character isn't anything interesting, and then the main love interest isn't anything interesting.
Yeah, right. It was just as bland as could be.
Yeah.
And even still, I would have been okay with, like, the idea that the two of them, like, screwed over Ewan and made off with all his gold at the end.
Sure, like a Bonnie and Clyde situation.
Yeah, right. Oh, Sam.
But one of my biggest issues is with a lot of action movies that they end them with love triumphs overall.
Yeah, right.
That really bad trope that movies like to do.
Yeah.
And I wish they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make great movies.
Yeah, and I hated the ending of this. I really did. So it's a solid 6-star. I liked most of the movie to a certain extent, despite the fact the main character is really dull and uninteresting. You know, Ewan McGregor is pretty great in it.
I like him.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot in this.
He's really, really good in it, and that was like the main redeeming factor. If they would have gotten a less likable actor doing a less good performance in his role, I would have not have cared about this movie at all.
Yeah.
But that was a saving grace. And yeah, it's still a, like, somewhat recommendation if you want some, like, neat Australian shenanigans, but, like,
if you like your kind of bland
yeah, right.
action films, like if you like action films and you're willing to, you just, like, hit it and quit it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a real easy one to do that with.
Yeah.
It'll suck what is it, hour and a half,
yeah,
hour
it'll
and
suck
40.
all right.
Hour and 40 out of your life, and then it'll be done. And you'll be like, that was all right.
Okay, so I think we can come out of spoilers to close off the episode. Again, Charles.
Okay.
Again, pretty obvious who wins this episode. Ghost Story gets my vote 100%.
Actually, they're tied for me.
Okay. Okay, interesting.
Because
Well, how so?
Because Ghost Story's story is not good. there really isn't much of a story actually happening.
Right, but it's like one of those
pacing-
movies where that's not like the
I
point.
understand.
You know.
But the pacing was just bad, and it made me feel sad.
Yeah.
So they're on kind of the same level, you know,
Okay,
6.5, 7, somewhere in there.
So, but if you had to would you choose a completely like generic, bland, and uninteresting action movie, or a genuinely like well shot, well crafted art film?
I mean, I'd rather look at paintings for an hour and a half, but
I suppose.
but yeah. So I guess a Ghost Story.
Yeah. Okay.
But otherwise, they're the same.
Fair enough. I loved the Ghost Story. I really didn't like Son of a Gun. I mean, I did, but the ending upset me. So that's my take on the matter. It's about time we pick the next two movies, or rather, find out what the. Hold on a second. Let me just open up A24's website here. Never mind, that wasn't A24's website.
Oh, good.
All right, this is A24's website. I have like 3 tabs marked A24.
While we're young.
While we're young. Ben Stiller, Naomi Watts, Amanda Seyfried, and Adam Driver. That's a nice cast.
That'll be interesting.
I think I've heard of this one. I don't know anything about it, but I'm pretty sure I've heard of it.
All right. What do you want to watch otherwise? I know it's my turn to pick.
Yeah, it's your pick.
Oh, I don't know, man. This is a hard one. What's the movie Remember about? You want to do that one?
Remember? What year?
2016.
Hold on, just gotta find it.
It's a movie.
Oh, there it is. I see. It's got Christopher Plummer, Martin Landau.
You want to do that one?
Sure. Wait a second.
Oh, this looks super sad.
Hold on.
Ooh.
Do I recognize that name?
Adam.
No, the director.
Yeah, Adam.
Oh, no.
Oh, what?
He made The Captive.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Looks like we're watching Remember.
Oh, no.
Which sounds a lot sadder than I hope it is.
Oh, this could be a bad week.
Oh, this is going to have to deal with Auschwitz and a 90-year-old man struggling with memory loss in a retirement home. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Get ready for that, guys. So, yeah. While we're young and Remember.
Okay. Let's see if this director can do something good.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold out hope for it, but I hated The Captive. Like, it's bottom of the list currently, so even worse than Tusk. So
no, that's not hard to do because Tusk is a masterpiece.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a masterpiece.
Okay, so this will be an interesting one. See you next week, unless we have to take another week off for any reason. Which I don't think we will, but, you know, you never know.
Okay.
Just saying.
You going somewhere again?
I might be.
All right. Great.
All right. Okay.
Bye.
See you later.
Adios.